Good evening. We're going to start tonight's May the 7th regular city commission meeting. We'll have the invocation by Commissioner Oliver and pledge by allegiance by Commissioner Firstner. Then we'll have roll call. Please stand.
Before we give invocation, I just want to say that it's an honor and duty and pleasure to be able to include church and state in our city government. We're able to pray together as one unit and also pronounce our pledge of allegiance together. That just shows that is the essence of patriotic, of being a patriot and understanding what that really means when we can do these things. Let us bow. Most heavenly and gracious Father, we come to you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, we come to you right now, lifting your name up on high, praising and exalting your holy name, Lord. Thank you so much for this day that you have created. Thank you for your creation. And thank you for allowing each and every one of us to be a part of your creation this day. And Lord, right now, as we conduct this commission meeting, we ask right now that you will allow us a portion of your Holy Spirit that we may come together, that we may touch and agree. Lord, we also want to pray for those that have been sworn to protect our city and our county and our state, those first responders, those police officers, firefighters, and those EMSs that patrol our streets each and every day and every night that allow us to be safe. So we pray that you will just keep them from hurt, harm, and danger, Lord. Watch over them, guide, and protect them, Lord. When all is said and done, we're going to be so careful and so grateful to give you all the honor, all the glory, and the highest of praise. These and all things we do pray. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Seated.
Commissioner Brinson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
Proclamations. We have 5 proclamations. We're going to start off with the building safety. Each one of the commissioners has one. So who's got the building safety?
That would be me.
Commissioner Branson, will you read that, please? And if you're here for that proclamation, please come down after we read it.
Whereas our city continuing efforts to address the essential issues of safety, energy, efficiency, and resiliency in the construction environment that affect our citizens both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster, give us confidence that structures are safe and sound, and whereas our confidence is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings, and whereas the Florida building codes, based on the international building codes, include safeguards to protect the public from natural disasters such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, and earthquakes, and whereas Building Safety Month encourages all citizens to raise their awareness of the importance of building safety and resilient construction, fire prevention, disaster mitigation, water safety and conservation, energy efficiency, and new technologies in the construction industry, and whereas each year in the observance of Building Safety Month, Americans are asked to consider projects to improve building safety, sustainability at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by our code officials in protecting lives and property. Now therefore, the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby proclaim the month of May 2019 to be Building Safety Month. We encourage our citizens to consider projects to improve building safety during this Building Safety Month. In witness whereof, I hereunto have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Ocoee, Florida to be affixed this 7th day of May 2019. Signed, Rusty Johnson, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Is anybody here is the Dean, our building official, and is Lauren, assistant? Come on down.
Come on down.
Commissioner, you want to get a picture with him?
Miss Lorraine.
Dean's our building official, and that's his ever-ready right hand. Come on out front where you can get a picture made here.
Well, hold on, let me have one.
the Water Safety Month.
I got it.
Who's got that?
I do.
Mr. Wilson. You here? Anybody from the water department here?
Yes, we got Torrin up in the back, and
The Torrance?
isn't Torrin?
No, he's,
Isn't he, yeah,
Oh.
okay, yeah.
yeah,
Once-
here's.
Let me I'll read it first, and then we'll go.
She'll read it out and then y'all can get a picture made.
Water Safety Proclamation. Whereas the citizens of the city of Ocoee recognize the vital role that swimming and aquatic-related activities play in our physical and mental well-being. And whereas water safety education plays an essential role in the prevention of drowning and recreational water-related injuries. And whereas the recreational water industry has made many significant contributions as represented by the organizations involved in the National Water Safety Month Coalition towards the development of safe swimming facilities, aquatic programs, home pools, and related activities. And whereas there are ongoing efforts and commitments within Ocoee to educate the public on water safety issues and initiatives by the pool, spa, water park, recreation, and park industries. And whereas communicating water safety rules and programs to families and individuals of all ages is vital. Now therefore, the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby declare the month of May 2019 as National Water Safety Month. Furthermore, we encourage all parents within the community to ensure their children have received swimming lessons by the age of 5 or have taken water safety lessons that will keep their children safe when near water sources. Our mayor has therefore said unto his hand and caused the seal of the city of Ocoee, Florida, to be affixed on this, the 7th day of May, 2019, and is signed by our mayor, Rusty Johnson.
As we go down, we'll take and go down. Mark, you want to introduce him and let us know? He's one of our new, got promoted.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. This is Torrin Hogan, our new Operations Manager for Recreation. He's been with the city for 7 years, so he's transferred over.
Great job. All right, we'll get a picture made. Mark didn't introduce himself, he's the Recreation Director. All right, next is the Haitian Heritage Month. Commissioner Oliver.
Proclamation. Haitian Heritage Month is an extension of the Haitian Flag Day celebrated on May 18th. May is a month of many significant historical national celebrations in Haiti. The date marks the unity reached by the Congress of Ocoee on May 15th through 18th, 1803. It also celebrates the Haitians' bravery against slavery in the French colony and commemorates its independence, which they proclaimed in January 1st, 1804. The Haitian slave and revolutionary general Toussaint Louverture was born on May 20th, 1743. And whereas in the United States, Haitian Heritage Month is the celebration of Haitian heritage and culture. While pioneered in New England in 1998, Haitian Heritage Month was eventually honored by the executive branch of the United States government in April 28th, 2006, with a letter of recognition authorized by President George W. Bush and his wife, Laura. And whereas several governors, members of the state Senate and House of Representatives, mayors, and city councilors have issued annual citations and proclamations recognizing the Haitian Heritage Month celebration in their states or cities since 1998. And whereas the 2009 census report, Florida has the largest percentage of Haitians residing within the borders of the United States, according to American Community Survey. The belief is the population will continue to grow and contribute to our communities. And now, therefore, the Ocoee City Commission does hereby proclaim May 2019 as Haitian Heritage Month. In the city of Ocoee, the city of Ocoee encourages all citizens to actively participate in activities and support programs celebrating and educating Haitian heritage. In witness thereof, I hereunto have set my hand and caused a seal of the city of Ocoee, Florida, to be affixed this 7th day of May 2019. Mayor Rusty Johnson.
You want to go down front? Also, somebody, and we do these now, we moved it to the end for comments, but this one goes with this. It's Dr. Eileen Mahoney.
Is your phone off?
Yeah. You want to go ahead and you say you want to say something, right? Sure. Come on down and get your picture made, then we'll let you do a little talk. Can we get everybody in? Come on now.
Bonsoir. Good evening. Thank you, Commissioner, Board of Commissioners, Mayor Johnson, for the opportunity to speak before you today. January 1st, Haiti celebrated its 215th independence. In many municipalities, it's been recognized. We're many islands, one of which with a distinct language that's usually mistargeted and often a target as well. So I thank you for the acknowledgement of the Haitian community on behalf of the Greater Haitian American Chamber of Commerce and Central Florida. We accept this proclamation. We invite each and every one of you to connect with GAC, the Greater Haitian American Chamber of Commerce, to connect with our local business owners, consumers, to share our culture and also experience our heritage. Again, thank you.
Thank you. All right, one more. No, two more. Sorry. Proclamation, whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and the agencies of government at other levels. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now therefore, I, Rusty Johnson, Mayor of the City of Ocoee, do recognize the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2019 as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Melody Civet, and the entire staff of Ocoee City Clerk's Department, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. In witness whereof I here and to have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Ocoee, Florida to be affixed this 7th day of May 2019. Rusty Johnson, Mayor. Melody, can you get away from the thing a minute? Yes. Take the picture. might wonder why it takes a couple times. So he has to double check when I'm in and see if it didn't break. Make sure the camera didn't break when we're taking the picture. I just real quick before I go to the next one, I want to thank Melody personally, her staff. They're one of the most dedicated working people in the city hall with all our staffers. But they're got their hands full all the time keeping up with us and all the different government regulations. So thank you a lot, Melody, and your staff, and tell them we said thank you.
I will.
All right, next is the National Peace Officers Memorial Day, May 15th, and National Police Week, May the 12th through the 18th, and that will be read by a fire chief.
Police officer.
That's what he was.
Yeah, that's how I started.
Oh, there you go. All right, get it.
It's my honor to read this proclamation. In 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. Established by a joint resolution of Congress in 1962, National Police Week pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And whereas every day our nation's dedicated law enforcement officers put themselves at risk to keep their fellow citizens safe, our officers stand as leading educating the community about the importance of public safety. And whereas, as the city of Ocoee observes Peace Officer Memorial Day and Police Week, we pay tribute to the courageous men and women who wear the badges and keep the peace. And whereas, we appreciate the extraordinary efforts and sacrifices made by officers and their family members on a daily basis in order to protect our schools, workplaces, roadways, and homes. And whereas, law enforcement officers deserve our appreciation for the work they do, which is to help people on a daily basis, protect our citizens, and if necessary, stand in harm's way for the communities they serve. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby proclaim May 15, 2019 as National Peace Officer Memorial Day and May 12th through 18th, 2019 as National Police Week in the city of Ocoee, Florida, and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in the communities across the nation. In witness hereof, I hereunto have set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Ocoee, Florida, to be affixed the 7th day of May, 2019. Rusty Johnson, Mayor.
Take a picture. Come on down. Great group of our fire department and police officers are super duper. They had a big parade, we call it picnic last Saturday. Commissioner Wilson and I were there. They had I don't know how many people they had, but they had a bunch of people. And Deputy Chief McCosper was one of the cooks. So if your hamburger and you were there, it was burnt. That's the guy in the corner back there. I think he got cooked. It was kind of hot. He was busy out there. All right, now we got one more. We're gonna call up Assistant City Manager Craig Shadrick and our Economic Development Consultant Angel Del Portilla. Is he here? I seen him here earlier. He's in the back. All right, so we're gonna call up a presentation by TNXL Baseball Academy.
Mayor, I'm gonna introduce this item. This is Craig Shadrick, Assistant City Manager. And the reason I wanted to introduce it is because I want to get one point across specifically before you listen to what Angel has to say. We've all collectively seen numerous presentations by various sports organizations, and we're still working with some of them at your direction. I want you to not look at this group in the same way, specifically for the reason that it is a well-established, financially solid organization, and that's unlike a lot of the groups that come before us with regard to sports. And they have a specific economic development angle and have approached us in recent months. We've been meeting with Brian Martinez, who's here, representing TNXL Academy. We've also engaged the services of our economic development consultant, Angel. And we have a recommendation for you tonight that we believe is very exciting. It's beneficial to the city of Ocoee as well as TNXL Baseball Academy. And I'm going to turn it over to Angel, but I want to ask you, please don't consider the things that you've seen before when you're looking at this, because it's very different. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Mayor and Commissioners, good evening. It gives me great, it's a great privilege to introduce this project for you to consider tonight, a potential partnership with TNXL Academy. TNXL is short for the next level. So this program was founded by Brian Martinez, who's in the audience here, 5 years ago. And in 5 years, TNXL has become the premier development baseball academy in Central Florida for high school age players between the ages of 14 and 18. At TNXL, baseball student players have the option of taking classes online at Florida Virtual School or maintaining a regular high school schedule and practicing every single day. He's got tremendous accomplishments. In 4 years, 52 players at TNXL have received college baseball scholarships to play baseball at some of the top programs, including Florida, Florida State, Miami, Clemson, South Carolina, and North Carolina. And notice that I put Florida first, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay. So currently, for the last several years, they've been operating out of Osceola Heritage Park in Osceola County. So the county recently leased the baseball facilities to Orlando City Soccer for their training center. So they've been looking for a new home for the growing academy of talented young baseball players. And I was first contacted by Brian in November of 2018. And we've been having discussions with him since with staff, with Craig, with Mike Rumer, with Ginger Corliss, and Mark Johnson on trying to work out a good fit for him. So they currently have 40 full-time players and 25 afternoon players who train at their academy. So their games, when these kids play baseball, they generate about 40 to 60 college and professional baseball scouts to view the players. These are among the most talented baseball players in the region, and they're being recruited by colleges from all over the U.S. Next season, there's a new prep baseball league that's starting. And TNXL has joined, and this is an elite baseball league. They'll be playing approximately 16 games. 8 of them will be at home. And this is not a traditional travel baseball organization. This is a full-time Monday through Friday baseball academy. The games are held on weekday mornings and afternoons. They're not held on weekends. So as we're looking at facilities, we looked at Bob Sorensen. It's currently, there's 2 fields at Sorensen that have what we call the big fields, which are equivalent to high school baseball, college and pro, the mounds and the bases. It's currently used by our city's Babe Ruth League. Excuse me. The Babe Ruth League practices at nights during the fall and spring, and they have their games on weeknights and Saturday mornings. Currently, the fields are not being used during the day, during weekday mornings and early afternoon, and this would be a perfect fit for a program like TNXL. And TNXL is seeking to move their baseball academy to Ocoee Sorensen Fields. In addition to the existing fields, TNXL is seeking to develop an indoor facility. It's for hitting and training for their players. And they need approximately a half an acre, and there's a parcel that's adjacent to Sorensen Fields that we could use for that, and they're gonna house their office and their training facilities at this facility. This facility will be fully constructed by TNXL at their expense on the Sorensen parcel. So here's the proposed agreement. TNXL will develop this facility, and this facility, I'll go more into the facility later, but it's a 13,000 square foot facility, and the estimated cost is $500,000. They're gonna finance this through an SBA loan, and which is not, it's being financed as equipment, so it's not gonna require any liens to be filed on the city property. The TNXL will make certain improvements to Sorensen Fields that include installing netting over the fields, foul ball lines, and also adding bullpen mounts for their pitchers. The city of Ocoee would cover the expense of bringing utilities to the building site so they can have water and sewer at their facility. Here's the concept there. On the right is the two fields. The proposed TNXL facility is that white building surrounding the landscaping between the Eisen Center and Sorensen. That's a 13,000 square foot facility. Okay, the proposed agreement, TNXL is seeking a minimum of a 10-year lease for the Sorensen parcel. This will be a ground lease. We've negotiated a deal where TNXL will pay a monthly rent for 12 months of $3,500 per month for leasing the property. So the base year rent is $42,000. We've also discussed annual rent increases between 3% and 5%. Our initial investment will be $46,000. That's going to cover the cost of bringing the water and sewer to the site, landscaping, removing the fence to accommodate more parking, and also accommodate the parking on the grass. The total rent paid to Ocoee over 10 years is $543,000. That's assuming a 5% increase on the annual rent. So we invest $46,000. We generate $543,000 over 10 years. In addition to their program, they're also committed to our youth league. So they're going to help our Babe Ruth League. They're going to provide free coaching clinics to the city's younger players. They're going to volunteer at least 4 hours per month to help participants in the city's Babe Ruth League. We got some technical difficulties tonight, so. TNXL coaches will also provide 1 hour monthly instruction over the city's Babe Ruth League, also under volunteer coaches. TNXL will offer scholarships to Ocoee residents at a rate of 1 for every 25 of their paid players upon the submission of a scholarship request form. Okay, so this is the direction that we're seeking tonight. I do want to go back a little bit to the facility because I want to make sure you'll understand it here. This facility here is, it's a canvas facility. It's built by a firm out of Iowa. It's installed in about 90 days. Similar facilities are being used in other parts of the country, including the University of Florida. They have a similar indoor hitting facility that's made out of canvas. It meets all the safety standards, and we'll review that with them as well, so it can get put quickly. And in the event that they were going to relocate, they can relocate the facility as well. So just keep that in mind. So I do want to take this moment to introduce some young men that are here. Brian Martinez, Coach Martinez, please stand. Players, I want to call your names and just recognize you. Joe Charles. Joe Charles is just graduated from high school. He's committed to the University of North Carolina. Doug Kirkland, he just graduated from high school. He's committed to Florida State University. Tyrell Brewer. Tyrell also just graduated, or will graduate, and he's also an FSU commit. And then we have, these are all 2019 grads. We have 3 2021 future grads, 2021. Jay Cruz, Kenzie McCombie, and Dylan Bowden. These young men are committed baseball players. They're very talented. Obviously, they're going to those schools. They're good baseball players. So we're here to answer any questions. Mr. Martinez, if you have any questions for him, you can answer them. Also, Craig, Ginger Corliss was part of this as well. Mark Johnson and Mike Rumer, although I know Mike's not here tonight. So thank you, Mayor.
So, all right, why don't we have the coach come down and stand there with you guys, and then if there's any questions from the staff and the commissioners, we can have it now. I will say, baseball is a big part of Ocoee, always has been, and we look forward to maybe adding a little more with the sport here. I will say that I got to watch my two little 8-year-olds last night win the league championship for their age group, so that was great.
Congrats, that's awesome.
So I will say Mark was the coach too, so. It was fun just watching the 8-year-olds, not as much as baseball as it is just camaraderie and learning the game, but it was fun watching them, so.
Absolutely.
All right, commissioners, anybody got questions?
I have a question. Is there any plans for scalability in your program as far as facility is concerned? And the reason I ask this question is because I had the opportunity to actually visit a facility in Georgia. It's a baseball university. And actually it started off with about 2 acres of land, similar to what you're doing. And now they have about almost 10 acres, and the kids actually go to school there every day. So it's a year-round program. They get summer breaks, but do you have any scalability to do things like that? Is that your vision anyway? I just need to ask you that.
Yeah, that's definitely our vision moving forward. We'd like it to be as similar to IMG as possible, and that direction moving forward will help our kids as far as development's concerned. If we can have them there on a daily basis and make sure we have a feasible facility to move forward, to make sure that their development, their classroom skills, their daily life skills are put into a better environment, I think, in the future, that's definitely a goal.
Do you do open recruiting? Do you recruit just locally, or do you recruit throughout the U.S.?
So most of our kids have been local students, mostly Central Florida kids. We have had some kids outside of the state, Indiana, Atlanta, and further. It's more of a word of mouth process right now. We don't openly recruit. If parents or players suggest us, we openly court them to try to find a solution to help them better their process, because this isn't for everybody. This is a development based organization, and we wanted to have the right individual who's willing to sacrifice and become better young men.
Angel, you mentioned that they're seeking an SBA loan to get their facilities up and running and put up their building. Is that your only source of startup capital through SBA, or do you take donations, or how does your organization survive as far as revenue is concerned?
Well, let me address this question, if I may. They're not a startup. They've been in business since 2014, and they're eligible. They've built up a financial standing in the community and also in the banking industry as well. So they're seeking an SBA loan. They would qualify as a small business. It is fairly if you're an established small business, you can get an SBA loan. At some point, they may want to refinance and to get a traditional bank loan because the rates are lower. So they have 40 kids in their academy at full-time that are full-time players and 25 that are part-time. They're paying monthly fees, okay, and that's how they're able to pay down the loan, and also that's how they're going to pay the city the monthly rent.
So the kids actually pay a monthly fee to be a part of the program?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And when you say the kids are housed, where are the kids staying?
So most of the kids are Central Florida kids. If we do have a kid that comes out of town, we do carry host families. So the kids can stay with the families. And our schedule's, based on Monday through Thursday for the out-of-town kids. So if they want to travel home, we have some kids from Tallahassee and Naples and Ponte Vedra, so they can kind of commute back and forth during those weekends, those longer weekends, to help them out. But as far as housing kids, we don't have apartment situations. They all live with their families.
So you don't have any relationships with any housing, but do you have relationships with other professional teams or semi-pro teams?
Absolutely. Yeah, our biggest revenue generator are our games. So when they're coming in and when they are coming to scout our players, they're staying at hotels. Okay. No, I understand. They're staying at hotels out of town, and when big GMs or assistant GMs are coming, that they will stay at hotels in the area.
Okay, let me shift real quick to the structure that you're talking about. We're in Florida.
Absolutely.
You got hurricanes and tornadoes and the like. What's going to happen when one comes by way of this? hurricane.
For us, I mean, when dealing with Clearspan, they're very adamant on the fact that this is safer than an actual steel structure. And for me, it's just because of the A-frame structure. It's a little bit pointier of a structure, so the wind deflects better. It is a canvas. It is a very tough tarp. So that was a big question for me, if sustainability, because there are still pylons in the building. So that was a big question for me, if it was going to be feasible enough to hold, and they were adamant on it. It sustains about 150-mile-an-hour winds.
I'm looking at liability for the city as well, if it's gonna be on city property.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, we'll address that in the contract, and we'll require insurance on, liability insurance on the building.
yeah, they'll be required to have insurance and also name the city as an additional insured. Also for their players, if there's any injury to a player on the city property, we'll have, their insurance will cover it. So we discussed all those terms with him. That was part of the discussion with him. And if this moves forward, we'll work with Attorney Cookson to make sure that the city is well protected.
All right, Commissioner
I
Wilson.
have a question. Could you go back to the slide where the actual building is, the structure? No, I'm sorry, go back, go forward, one, two, Angel, sorry.
That's the structure there.
Okay, but I think you go one more. I was just concerned, now, it
That's-
was where it buffers along the other residents, and I was concerned regarding the property that's going to be adjacent to, I think, there you go.
That one there?
Yeah, where Sorensen, will it back up to any homes? And just concerned regarding
Well, I would yield to
Ginger.
Ginger, right?
In developing the concept and going out and taking a look at the site, we have added additional buffer. Part of our initial would go in and add some additional landscape buffer, which is needed there. We already do have a pretty good natural base that kind of follows the box into the L into the Sorensen fields. But yes, we'll be enhancing the buffer. And there's room.
I mean, I realize you're only running in the morning, so it's not as though lights are a factor that, but we already have lights over there. That I think many of our residents are probably used to at this point, but just concerned regarding the buffering. Thank you.
I do want to mention something that I left out. It's a very important component. I want to go back here to these games here. So we're looking at this as a catalyst for economic development as well. So their games are generating 40 to 60 college and professional scouts. That picture there is at one of their practices. The scouts are holding guns, or they're getting the radar to get the speed on the velocity of the pitcher. So these scouts need places to stay. These scouts need places to eat. So as we're building our downtown, as we're trying to generate more activity here to bring hotels, we potentially could have a new tenant that's going to be generating this. And again, these games, they're going to be playing 8 games. These are games that are coming into the city. They're going to generate activity among these coaches and scouts. The games are going to be held in the weekdays. So typically in the middle of the week, our Fairfield is not very busy. During the middle of the week, they're usually busier on weekends. We're actually going to be bringing potential guests to that hotel as they come for these games.
Also too, it's just not the 8 games. We do play a junior college and Division II schedule as high school players. And the reason that they're interested in doing that is we're flexible, because the kids are Florida virtual school students. So those junior colleges and those Division IIs, especially the northern ones, will come down to play us, and they will be staying and eating in the city. And that's something that we've done a really good job of building talented players, because if some of our players do falter in the Division I level or their other colleges, they use it as a recruiting tool. So it's been something pretty neat that, as high school players, these kids do get to play these college, ranks, and they also get to, be in that environment before they get to their colleges.
Are there bleachers and public facilities out there at Sorensen Field?
As I saw, we were out there today, and there are bleachers and
There
so on
are,
and so
so
forth. Yeah,
there's places for the public to come out and watch
Absolutely.
the games and all.
absolutely.
Excellent. I have an 8 and 10-year-old grandson up in New York, and they live, eat, breathe baseball. I think this is a wonderful program, and if I didn't support it and they found out about it, they would never talk to me again.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, anybody else? I will say, I I know I visited a city in Texas, which is, my sister lives in it, it's the same size as we are. They have a youth recreation facility that they use for different things, but one of the programs is baseball. The kids come from all over, they have Japan there and all this, and they end up paying the city, I think it's like $10,000. That's for everything. I mean, they do a fun everything, but it is a good program. They bring people into town from other places, other countries. Those kids also get to go to those countries too. I think it's a great way, as long as if they keep their schooling up and all that stuff. I think it's.
We did play 3 Korean universities this year in a Korean
Yeah.
high school. So they did come over and play us, and we did go over there. It was really neat. We got to take a picture after the game. They gave us gifts, with their Korean, logos. It was honestly a really cool experience.
That's good.
So it's awesome.
So what I would say is on the commission, if we need to make a motion here to get the contract worked out, right, Rob? So what we need is a consensus or a vote. I'd rather have a vote, do a vote on it, and then we can work on the contract with our city lawyer and your guys and our staff, with Craig and Angel and Mark.
I make a motion to direct the city attorney to proceed with contract negotiations and laying out the terms for this and to proceed.
So here's a second.
I'll second that, please.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Anybody have any other comments? All right, let's vote. All right, let's get the contract done, get going.
Thank you, Mayor.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thanks, guys. All right, we can get on to the, I got one more. I thought I had them all, but no. We got the fiscal year 2018 audit results. Catherine, who's that? Tammy Campbell and who else? You? Okay, come on.
Good evening, I'm Tammy Campbell with McDermott Davis, the audit firm, here to present the results of the 2018 annual financial statements. A few financial highlights first, and then we'll get to the audit reports. For 2018, the general fund balance increased 1.6 million to 19.5 million. At the end of the year, unassigned fund balance was 14.2 million, or 36% of general fund expenditures. And kind of a minimum benchmark that's recommended in governmental practices is for that percentage to be 17%. So you're above that minimum and have that good, healthy fund balance there. Taxes continue to be the main revenue source in the general fund, both property taxes, utility, electric, those type of things. Public safety and general government make up the largest expenditure categories, and again, that's common in cities, that public safety, police, fire, general government, operations, finance. There was a large decrease, about 6 million, in the 2017 capital projects fund, and this is a result of spending some of the prior year bond proceeds on various capital projects. The CRA fund balance is continuing to grow as revenues exceeded expenditures again this year, and that's common. It's very cyclical in a CRA that you build up those reserves and then determine the various projects to spend them on. The water and wastewater fund increased 3.8 million. This is due to operating charges exceeding expenditures, as well as about 1.6 million in capital contributions. And these capital contributions are contributed water lines, wastewater lines, and those type of assets. The solid waste fund decreased about 1.1 million, and this is primarily due to hurricane cleanup costs and the timing of reimbursement from FEMA. So that fund had not received reimbursement as of the end of 2018. It's expected in future years, but it's all dependent on the timing of that reimbursement. Long-term debt decreased 2.8 million. That's due to normal principal payments. The only new debt that came on the books in 2018 were a couple of capital leases. So fairly constant normal payments of debt. There was one new accounting standard that was adopted during 2018, and that's related to the other post-employment benefits that the city offers. This new standard required restating beginning net position And again, that's just due to a change in what the governmental standards are requiring for some of those calculations, not any negative reflection of the city. This new standard also modified some of the note disclosures in an attempt to make them a little more clear and more user-friendly and comparable to the existing pension disclosures. The city received an unmodified audit opinion, which is the best type of opinion that a city can get. Our other reports state that the city is in compliance with the laws and regulations that we tested as part of our audit. In the management letter, there are no current year comments. And of note, during our audit process, we saw that there were improved bank reconciliation and account reconciliation processes. So the prior year comments that were there have now been remediated and are no longer comments going forward. And based on our testing, the city is in compliance with the Florida statutes on the investment of public funds. So overall, we've seen that improvement in the internal control structure and a positive financial report. And if there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to address them.
Anybody on staff have any comments? Did you say what the reserve was to start with?
The ending unassigned fund balance in the general fund is 14.2 million.
Okay.
Quick question for you. Is the financial report, does it have any reflection on our bond rating? Is there a direct correlation between the bond rating based on our financial stability in the
There
city?
is some, it goes through a whole process and
Based on the financial report that we have now, what is our current bond rating, and has it changed within the past year?
as far as I know, it hasn't changed, Donna. I don't know if you've gotten any.
I can address that. We had two ratings, and I believe it was Moody's and Fitch's, and within the last 6 months, I believe it was the Fitch rating that actually went from a AA to an AA+. So we were actually, our bond rating increased within the last year. The other rating remained the same.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Sounds like we're in good shape. I like the reserve balance.
Yeah. All righty.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, now we're down to staff reports.
I have nothing, Mayor.
All right, we're, Commissioner's announcement. Commissioner Brinson,
I have nothing.
Commissioner Wilson,
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Firstner,
Not at this time.
Commissioner Hall.
I'll defer.
All right, consented, well, I'm gonna wait till the end also. No announcements tonight. Consent agenda. Your motion?
I'll make that motion.
Before we make a motion, I'd just like to pull one item just for a brief discussion. Just had a couple of questions, and that would be item number, Jesus,
There's a bunch of.
sorry. This is the one for the recording studio.
The what?
4. Yeah.
4?
Yeah, item number 4.
I'll make the
We're just
motion.
gonna discuss it?
Yes, yeah, that's.
Should we make a motion to approve with that excluding item 4?
Yeah. Then we'll vote on that one.
Yeah.
All right. And do I hear a second?
I'll
for-
second that.
Motion made for all items of consent agenda except 4. Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Firstman. Let's vote. All right. Where's Craig? Craig Shadron. Come out. All right, go ahead.
The question I have, I'm pretty familiar with this item, but I did have just a couple of questions about this item. Purchasing this recording studio just right behind us here, what was the future plans? Maybe Rob, you can attest to that. What's the future plans for that particular structure or any equipment that we may encounter or purchase with that building?
Yeah, well, Craig's coming down. Part of it, it's like, as far as the whole campus we have here on the lake, we're going to incorporate that in some future phasing, including the park and the buildings that we do have down here. The lease that we're talking about, Mr. Gettings and his company would remain in there for the next 5 years. So we would have time to actually drill down and figure out exactly what we want to do with that. In the past, some of the ideas that have come up were some type of pier or something like that. And there's actually pictures from the 20s where that was there, and it was fairly popular. We can use the building and the grounds to enhance some of our optional type things that we provide to the public, such as wedding venues and those types of things. You know, we took the gazebo down with the improvements we're doing right now. So we really have 5 years to figure this out. We understand that that's a fairly integral part of what we should have down here on the lakefront. I think I mentioned before, 10 years ago, we met with Mr. Gettings to purchase that property, and we didn't proceed with it because we didn't think we were getting the value. We thought he was getting too much money for it, actually, and we had negotiated for quite a while to $4 million. It came up this time again. I think Mr. Gettings knew that you know, he'd have to come down significantly if the city was going to acquire the building, and he did. And I think we're at, correct me if I'm wrong, we're around 2.5 or 2.6.
That's correct. 2.5 million.
Did that include the equipment in the building?
No,
No.
it did not.
Just the building itself
Just the building,
Yes.
the shell.
and the land?
That's correct.
One of the other things we should mention too, and you know, with the down payment that we're going to be putting on it, and we would take title to the building, but we would lease it back to Mr. Gettings for the next 5 years. The agreement in the lease is we have full use of the property around the building. We have full use of the parking lot. So we can incorporate some uses of that property into our programs that we're doing down by the lake right now.
What would be the rate, the lease rate for the property?
I don't know the acreage off the top of my head. So
Are you
I can
saying
get
the
that to you.
rate in the lease or the comparable
the
rate?
lease rate.
The lease rate.
Lease rate, yeah.
It's $200,000 per year for 5 years. So that's, we're paying them a lump sum up front of 1.5, which is before you for authorization to move the funds this evening, and then an annual payment for a period of 5 years of $200,000. And that gets you to the 2.5 million. Robbie is correct in terms of it was much higher, this is almost half of what they came in originally at. I will also remind you that there are at least a half dozen images in the downtown master plan that the commission adopted 3 years ago that kind of set the tone for all of our projects that depicted that being used in conjunction with the lakefront park with a trail that would eventually go all the way around the lake, connect to Silver Star, and we would end up having a trail going down Silver Star. And that's something that, you know, it's going to take a while to do, but that's the long-term plan, is to incorporate that into a regional trail system. In addition to that, we identified other parcels near there for boat ramp access, possible vendorship for paddle boards and canoes and those types of things. So it just, in every type of park analysis we did with the downtown master plan, that property kept coming up as a strategic place, and that's why we brought it before you.
So
Previously.
tonight, you're asking us to move $1.5 million
Yes.
as a down payment for this particular property. And the $1.5 million will come from where?
It would come from the 317 account, which was monies that were unencumbered from leftover funds from other projects. And the commission, I'll remind you, you've already directed us to proceed forward with acquisition of the property. This is avoiding us having to wait until October to do it, so that we wouldn't have to budget that money. We actually were able to find unencumbered existing funds from leftover from capital projects, other projects, and that money typically goes into the 317 account, and the money is there this year, and that we thought that would be an expedient thing to do because we didn't want to have to try to budget it in October. And if we tried to push it and do a budget amendment, that's 2 public hearings and a huge public notice. So after receiving direction from the City Commission in March to proceed forward with acquisition of the property, we felt like this was the best way to go in taking care of the down payment. And then we, of course, can budget much more easily the annual $200,000 payment.
What's the current balance in the 317 account right now?
1.9 million.
So this will take the,
This would leave a remainder of
Lines of-
$350,000.
and how much,
Well,
what's the
let
lease,
me-
what's the lease to the company?
Pardon?
What's the lease back to the,
Getting Studio, Inc. Correct me if I'm wrong, city attorney who's been working with their
Yeah,
representative.
so just to be clear, we will pay $1.5 million to acquire the property, and then every year we make a $200,000 payment to reach the 2.5 million. Gettings leases it for that 5-year period, but doesn't pay
That's a
us,
little bit-
any rent during that period. And Commissioner, just to answer your question, there will be no recording equipment at the end of the lease. He takes that with him at the end of the 5-year
Wore
term.
out. Let me make some, if you're gonna, if you make a comment, when I call on you, or wait till I call on you, guys. So, one of the, Rosemary, Commissioner Wilson, Commissioner Wilson,
Oh, I'm just one of the guys, I guess, okay.
you wanna wait?
No, I'm gonna wait, no, when you said you guys, so I couldn't resist. Go ahead, I'm
Well, I
gonna
did
ask
say
something.
Commissioner Wilson.
Oh, okay, no.
You know,
Oh, you
Scotty
gonna
would
say
say, what's your
something, or-
name?
What's her name? I have heard that one.
Yeah. No, what I was gonna say is, if you do the overall plan, and I think Ginger drew some stuff up years ago, one of the things they're talking about is turning it into part of the whole thing for a general park that we're doing now down in this area. I think part of the weddings over there and the other things that can happen, but we also get to utilize the land for other things outside to start with. The reason we got a better price on it is because of that lease part, makes it work. And his son's kind of doing it now, so I think his son's planning on going on. It might not even take 5 years before they decide to leave. But the other thing is, and I know Craig said something about it, but we talked about trying to find the grants that will help us pay for some of that, redoing that park around it, where you put a boardwalk around the lake, all the way around the like Orange Avenue, where you can walk, people can get on it and walk around the lake, because you can't walk on Silver Star because there's no sidewalks through the state. So we'll put that through there and have like an environmental thing they can walk on it and use that, but that's one of the reasons. And we did, I don't know what happened, when it happened, but that was in the city years ago. So I don't think we'll get another chance after this, so I think it's a well worth the investment, so.
No, I've been for the purchase of this all along.
All right, any more, we need a motion.
You know, over the years, we've watched this property sit there, and it's, to me, it's so integral part of our park setup down there. And, you know, when you read where other cities have, or other communities have, where people can take their boat and come in, I mean, if that was a restaurant, they could come in by Stark Lake to boat into a restaurant. I mean, to me, there's so many possibilities there, just as Mayor said, the walkway along the water so that we can avoid having people walk on Orange Avenue, Silver Star, going up to Orange Avenue, because it's so dangerous. But it's the idea of making that walkable community, and as downtown and the area around it becomes more developed, people want places to walk to go to restaurants, and they love sitting in the water, looking out the lake. And to me, that's just such an important part of what we're trying to create in our downtown community, in our downtown lakefront. And I know it seems like a lot of money, and I'm usually one that does not agree to spending money, but I see that this just will gather the whole park together as a unified community activity.
I would say one other thing is we look at, we keep people talking about Winter Garden in the downtown, but you don't want to go down to Lake Apopka and do much work down there, but for fun. But here, it's the difference with Stark Lake tied into the lakes. This is one of our great assets to our city, is that lake out there. So it's one of the Fab Fives with fishing also. So I think also you could put out, little boats to rent out, little rowboats or something, take kids out in, or canoes or kayaks or stuff like that. So make it also a park venture. All right, I need a motion.
I'll be happy to make that motion to approve item 4. Was it item 4? I'm sorry.
Well, all right, we're gonna vote on item 4 that was taken out of the, discussed
No,
on
it's
considered.
just one item, right?
Yes,
Just voting that one item.
we did the other ones. All right, hold on item 4, approval to transfer initial funding for purchase of the Getty Recording Studio. Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, do I hear a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson. All right, any more discussion? If not, let's vote. Well, that's great. Thanks, guys. That's a big asset to the city, I think, for our whole city. Thank you. All right, moving along. Now we're going all the way over to 15. All right, we can put, I was gonna ask a little at the end, but we might need to do it now, because we only have one reading for the next meeting. And we talked about maybe there's something, Rob, so we can put it off to the 1st of June, so we really don't have a lot. If anybody cares, we can cancel the next meeting, May the 20, what is the day? What's the day, Zane?
21st?
Yes, cancel the 21st.
Do you need a motion for that?
Yeah.
We have nothing, we have
No.
nothing,
You have a first reading tonight
And we-
on the dog-friendly dining ordinance. Checked with Melanie, we can still change the advertisement tomorrow to have the
Yeah.
second reading on the June 4th meeting. So it's not impacting us in
Need a
any
motion.
cost or anything like that.
I'll be happy to make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner First. All right, let's vote. All right. See y'all June. What day in June is that gonna be?
June.
Who's got the calendar?
I have it June the.
June 4th.
4th.
June the 4th, okay. So we'll go ahead and talk about it.
All right.
15,
Yep, this is a first reading of the Dog-Friendly Restaurant Land Development Code Amendment. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending Chapter 180, Article 5 of the City of Ocoee Land Development Code to add a new Section 5-20 to establish a local exemption to the Food and Drug Administration's Food Code to allow dogs in designated outdoor areas of food service establishments in accordance with Section 509.233 Florida statutes, providing conditions for a permit for such use, providing for enforcement, providing for penalties, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date.
all right, this will be, we won't open the public, it'll be for public discussion on the second reading on June the 4th. All right. Item 16, second reading of ordinance and public hearings, Fountains West Commons Place Plan Unit Development, PUD. Peter, you coming up for that? Yep. All righty, come on down. Huh? Well, he didn't. I asked him, he said no.
Oh, it is.
All right, I'm gonna back up a minute. My lawyer messed up over here. Glitch to the lawyer. All right, we're gonna open it to the public hearing.
Number 15?
Number 15. Huh? Anybody in the public have any comments on number 15? Nope. Close the public hearing, bring it back to the podium. Do we need to revote?
No, we're good.
Huh? We're good. All right, now back. That's up to you guys. Number 16.
All right, good evening. I'll be presenting on the Fountains West PUD, small-scale land use amendment and the associated large-scale preliminary and final site plan.
Peter, we can't hear you. You're going to have to keep talking into that mic.
Okay. So there's two items. It's split in. First one is the small-scale comp plan amendment here. This is simply a land use change converting from low-density residential and light industrial to commercial to facilitate development for the already approved use for the daycare and fire facility. You can see here, this is an existing land use map. This is the yellow stripe. That is the low-density residential, and then the purple there to the right, that is the light industrial there. So we're essentially combining that to create commercial. The surrounding PUD is commercial as well, so you'll see the Publix there to the west, and then you've got the charter school there, right over there to the east. Staff has recommended approval for this item, and again, it's to accommodate the already approved uses for the daycare and the fire facility there for commercial.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, public hearing, isn't it? Sorry.
It will be, yeah. You have something to read?
Yeah, let me go ahead and read the title to the comp plan amendment ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted on September 18, 1991 by Ordinance 91-28 as amended. Amending the future land use map of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation from low-density residential and light industrial to commercial for certain real property containing approximately 5.3235 acres located on the north side of Fountains West Boulevard, providing for and authorizing the revision of official city future land use map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. It's just one ordinance.
All right, we're going to open the public hearing for item 16 for Fountains West Common Plan Unit Development. Anybody in the public have any comments on number 16?
Sure, Commissioners
All right.
and Mayor. For the record, I'm Ty Maxey with Summit Construction Management Group. I'm with the applicant. We're just here to answer any questions. We certainly appreciate all of staff's hard work over the past few months in working on this project. Thank you.
All right. Anybody in the audience? Not, I'm going to close it and bring it back to the dais. Anybody have any questions?
I just had one, just to make sure I'm clear exactly to where this is. We're talking directly to the east of the charter school and east of the apartments, correct?
It'd
Is that
be
my-
directly to the west.
Or to the west of the apartments?
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring up the aerial here. So,
Okay, because I'm
yeah, the apartments there are directly to the east. You can see they're in construction in this aerial.
to the east.
And then the Renaissance Charter School there is to the southeast, and you got the Publix to the west there, the Publix Shopping Center with the, you know, the Breakfast Club and Subway and all that over there.
Isn't that where we were talking about the firehouse?
Yeah, yeah.
Commissioner Brinson, this.
Yeah, where's the firehouse being proposed to go?
There isn't any proposed developments at this point.
It's up, it's in that plat up there on the back, backside of it. I can't remember, yeah. I think, oh, you know what, they get me one.
I was gonna say,
Hey,
just flash
see.
it.
Whoops, wrong way.
Okay, don't flash
I think it's, well, it's
Behind
not.
you. Do it behind you. Mayor, do it to the screen behind you. It won't.
They won't do that.
You do it
Right
there.
up in here. Right up in here is what it was proposed to start with. Is that not right?
Is that-
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Which we've talked about for that area.
Okay, right, and so I know that this is gonna be also, self-storage. Is there gonna be any, I know, I read up where it's gonna be inside access only, is that right?
Yes, yeah, you'll see in the next couple of slides
Okay,
on the
I'll-
self-storage.
okay,
Yeah.
I'll wait till you get there, you may answer my question.
Yeah.
Why don't you finish that? Now, you want us to, before we vote on the other part, then you gonna show slides pertaining to the rest of it?
So I believe we need to vote on the first item here.
Let's go ahead and do the staff presentation on item 2.
Yeah.
We'll vote on them separately.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to vote separately. We can vote on this first one now. You wanna,
Yeah, go ahead and I think we ought to do the staff report for
yeah,
the
do the
second
staff
item, then we'll
report.
vote
then
on
we'll
them
do-
separately.
then
Yeah, I'll
we'll do
move forward
both
here.
of them.
So this is for phase 1 of Lot 8, Fountains West PUD. It's the preliminary and final site plan. So I'm gonna skip ahead here a few slides. So the proposed development is a 3-story indoor storage facility. So the applicant is proposing to give access drives to the entire development, so for the future use of the daycare and the future use of the fire facility here. You'll see the storage facility in the bottom right there. So it's approximately 102,000 square feet over the 3 floors. They're also proposing to improve the area for stormwater, so we'll be able to accommodate all the stormwater for the 3 different uses that will come in the future, and also a landscape buffer going around the entire property. So the stormwater will be dry there, but again, it will accommodate everything on site. Back up here, this is part of the commercial PUD there. Again, the Publix is closer to Ocoee there on the, this is where the Publix is right here, just for reference. Staff has recommended approval for this use. Any questions?
Yeah, let's vote on the first and then.
All right, we need a motion for the first part, A part. For the second.
This was the comp plan
Comp
ordinance, comp plan amendment ordinance.
Motion.
Make a motion for to approve the first part, the Fountain West Common Plan Unit Development. Part A.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver for the item, for A, second reading of ordinance for Fountains West Common Plan Unit Comprehensive Plan Amendment. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any more comments? Not, let's vote. All right, now we'll open the public hearing for the Phase 1 of the Fountains West Common Plan Unit Development, preliminary and final site plan, Summit Self-Storage. Anybody in the public have any comments? Yes, sir.
Again, for the record, Ty Maxey with Summit Construction, and here representing the applicant, but available to answer any questions.
All right. Anybody else in the audience before I close the public hearing? Nobody, all right. Anybody have any comments or questions?
Just have
Mr. Wilson.
one question. If you'll go back a few slides, sorry, or forward a few slides. Show me exactly on that plot of land, that plat, where is the, if you go to a different, keep going. Show, right there. Oh, right there, it's fine. Show me where the self-storage is going.
Self-storage is going in the bottom right corner here.
So
So
it's closer to the school, closer to the.
it would be
on that side,
adjacent to the
school,
apartment
would be
complex.
adjacent to the apartment.
Yes.
No, there's a lot, there's woods between here and the,
So go back to an aerial
That's
here.
again, that corner spot.
yeah, right.
So go right in here. They've met the buffer requirements for the city, so we've worked with them in developing a buffer around it.
And it would be total access from the rear, correct? Is that what I understand? When I read this, did I read the self-storage is, I guess when you go to the picture, it's going to be rear loaded, I guess, is that
Yeah,
correct? Or
actually, there's a drive-through facility, so all loading will be basically interior to the building. So you access from the back, go through the drive-through into internal on the first floor, load from there, and then exit out the front.
Okay, can you show us the picture again?
Okay, yeah.
The 3D?
Keep going, or maybe, okay. So that's right there, the rear, is that we're looking at the driveway right there, the rear?
To my understanding, this is an existing development that it will essentially look like, just like this. So, I guess this would be the rear, and then on the other side would be the front.
So you just come in?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we become more modern where we don't unload our things out in the driveway and bring them in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, times changed.
So the drive-through would be,
Off the rear.
let's see, right here. So you come in this way, there's an access aisle here, and then it looks like the drive-through's here, this dash line. And then you go through around the back.
Well, one way or the other, you're coming in or you're going out.
Oh, you unload inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the loading's internal.
They've come a long ways.
Yeah.
A dolly and pull it out of your trunk.
All right.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Would there be any outside vehicle or conveyance storage? So no campers, vehicles,
No RV
trucks?
storage, no boat trailers.
Ski-doos, sea-doos, none of that, trailers?
We don't have, we're not accommodating space for that.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Anybody else? Any more questions? All right, I need a motion.
Make a motion to.
Item B.
I'll make a motion to approve item B, the public hearing in Phase 1, Lot 1 of the Fountains West Commons Plan Development Unit.
All right, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson. No more comments? Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Giddy up. All right. Staff action items.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Comments from the citizens and the public. I have one here from, Annette, is that Brown?
Yes, sir.
Come on up.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Annette Brown. I'm a new citizen here in Ocoee. I came to talk about the no U-turn sign on the corner of Silver Star and Clark, where I did receive a traffic citation for $160. No ill intent against the Ocoee Police Department at all. They are simply doing their job, and I respect the police department wholeheartedly. My concern is the visibility of the sign. When I came from Chase Bank and I got into that lane to go back up on Silver Star towards Hawaii, there was a large vehicle in front of me. I could not see that no U-turn sign. It's positioned as a stop sign, not up high with the red light. So once I got into the traffic, commenced to make my U-turn there, I didn't see the sign because my eyes are focusing now of getting clarity from the red light to make sure the light is still green so that I could proceed. So the officer was probably over in the Walgreens parking lot. So he pulled me over, and someone behind me also made the U-turn, so he pulled both of us over. So I do admit that I made an illegal turn, but I did not see that sign there because the visibility of that was not clear. And if you're new, like I am here to Ocoee, and not familiar with the area, what you're gonna come up on, then I'm just saying that that sign should probably be positioned up high so that we can see the sign. Now, I've been here now over 90 days. I love the beautiful city of Ocoee. I am definitely learning my way around. I no longer make U-turns at that. I no longer make U-turns at the corner of Silver Star and Clark. But I'm just concerned that other visitors to our beautiful city, other residents that's not accustomed to the area, making that U-turn when you're not able to see that sign clearly. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Well, we appreciate that. No warning tickets, huh? For one time? I kind of like it where you give a warning ticket to somebody the first time, but that's my own opinion. But,
Can I ask a question, Mayor?
yeah.
Isn't that a state road?
Yes, but we can have it is a state road, but we can have our staff contact, Rob.
Yeah, we can take a look at it. I'm not sure exactly where that sign is. Were you were headed north on Clark when you did the U-turn, or?
I was coming from out of Chase Bank,
By the Publix.
so I was headed north
Yeah.
to make the U-turn back up. And I didn't see the sign because it sits right. I asked the officer, you sure it's a no U-turn sign there? Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right, so we'll take a
It
look at it.
sits in the
then.
median, it sits, the
Yeah, it
light
sits right in the
is, as
median.
you're heading west on Silver Star Road.
Yes, ma'am.
It sits in the cement median
is.
there, and it does say no U-turns, because I've gotten some neighbors complaining that people are making U-turns. But it's sitting there, I just wondered if it could be put up over the,
Yeah.
Well,
I believe
there's
that.
there's certain regulations we have to follow as far as where those signs go. I can't picture it myself, so we'll take a look at it. Sometimes, if you're not putting them on wires above the road, the only place you can really put it is in the median, but I don't know how that particular one is set up. We'll have,
We'll
our
have
traffic people take a look at
we'll
that.
have staff get a hold of Public Works and see if we can get somebody to answer that, Ms. Brown.
Okay.
I'll tell you a little quick story. Oh, there he is. I'll tell you a quick story. I was years and years and years ago.
you were sitting next to the Director of Public
Oh,
Works.
you were sitting next to him.
Oh, no, I saw a familiar face. I took a class with this gentleman.
I'll tell you a little anecdote about that. I was downtown Orlando on the trail one time going under I-4 heading south. I got in a kind of a discussion with my wife at the time. We had 3 little babies in the back, and I was kind of getting excited. And she told me she was trying to tell me not to turn, but I didn't hear her. I made that turn on that thing, and same thing. The highway patrol was sitting on the other side. I got missed. He didn't give a warning either.
I won't make that turn anymore.
No. But we'll try to address that. We're glad to have you in Ocoee.
Okay, thank you.
I used
My
to live
pleasure.
there. Up there in
Okay,
Richfield.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Sorry about waiting. All right. can you take care, Steve, can you take and make sure? Give her a thing, let her know what card, and let her know what you found out. All right. Comments from commissioners? Well, first of all, is there anybody else in the audience, any more citizens have any comments? All right. Commissioner Oliver.
Okay. First, I would like to announce that the second annual Ocoee Youth Summer Job Fair will be this Saturday, May 11th at the West Oaks Mall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you know any graduating high school seniors or seniors that actually, or high school age kids that's looking for summer jobs, please have them to come out to the West Oaks Mall. Some of the employers will be hiring on the spot.
Is that 10 o'clock you said?
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. 10 to 2.
Same where it was at last year?
Yep,
in the middle there?
same
Okay.
place, yeah.
Is that the community room, or are you going to the mall?
No, it'd be actually in the center court of the mall.
Center of the mall?
Yeah, so we have the east and west entrance would be right in the middle, center court. So please come out, and there will also be employers there that will be looking for permanent employees, maybe senior citizens or just young adults just looking for employment. They'll be there. So please come out and attend. The first announcement I do have, that was the first and the next one that I do have, is concerning verbiage in our city contracts, verbiage to add, or at least I'm looking for some type of consensus from the commission for the staff to look into adding WMBE and veteran-owned businesses into verbiage, contract verbiage as far as procedures is concerned, looking to possibly adopt some of the Orange County standards as it pertains to women, minority-owned business enterprises, and veteran-owned businesses to be able to bid on contracts, possibly receive 10 to 20% of the business as they bid on a contract, as long as they meet the standards to do so. So I would like to see if we can get a consensus to have the staff look into that, so we can have more minority-owned business, women-owned business, veteran-owned businesses to be able to come out and to basically answer those RFPs and to apply for to do business with the city.
Craig, can you know anything of that? We have that in our personnel or in our job or vendor licenses we have upstairs?
I know we've had it in there at various times since I've been here. I know we've made recent changes to our city's purchasing code, and so I think what Commissioner Oliver just proposed would be the right thing to do, and have us look into that. I believe that there's a strong chance that with the recent changes that we've made, there are still some opportunities for those categories, and I don't want to speak without having the benefit of having Joyce Tolbert from our purchasing department here.
All right. Is consensus, everybody consensus on that? Yeah.
We can look at that and
Yeah.
bring the issue back, yeah.
Okay, next.
Looking also for a consensus vote to be able to, I'd like to bring on an intern, actually for myself, to be able to get some things done, some committees and some other things that we were looking forward in the city to move forward with some different projects that I'm engaging in the city. This intern will actually, there will be a stipend for this intern that I have a benefactor for, to be able to have them to maybe collect mail for me, or maybe have a spot somewhere in the city, within City Hall, to sit at a desk, maybe answer calls or just do some administrative work. But just looking for a consensus to be able to do something like that.
Any discussion?
We're not gonna have an office pretty soon ourselves. You realize that coming down the pike? I mean, I think we're cleaning out our office as we speak.
I think we've found an area
Oh, you
that
did?
should be acceptable, yeah, but it's on the second floor of City
Where's
Hall.
that at?
Second floor of City Hall.
Where?
The 227, the conference room down there, and the adjacent to that in what's the code enforcement desks right now. That's one option we're looking at.
Any more comments?
I guess I'm a little confused at this point, because I'm not criticizing this, I just don't know what, is this person being stipend by someone, or did you say, not the city is not stipending the person, correct?
The city is not, no. No, the city is, the stipend is actually coming from a individual organization that will cover, the student actually is a college student working on a master's degree at FIU, and it would be about a $2,000, I guess, scholarship that would be granted at the end of the summer for the student. That $2,000 would probably go to the city's general fund, and there'll be a check cut from that, partnering with the city and that person or that organization that's actually granting that fund, that scholarship.
Well, why would, are they just gonna pay that person, not us?
Yes, they're gonna pay them. We're not paying them. But again, if we partner with the city could actually get recognition as to be able to provide that type of internship for a college-age student. So therefore, the city's not paying any money. They're just simply receiving money from an organization to be able to give out to an intern.
But I'm saying, you said about putting it in our city funds, putting it in our city account.
Yeah, if they cut a check, instead of cutting a check directly to the intern, it goes to the city. The city would then cut a check to that
Why can't they
individual.
just pay that?
I mean, they could still do it that way. I was just looking for a way that the city could say, you know, we are being proactive when it comes to internships or granting scholarships for young folks that's actually looking to do intern work. That's all. So we can do it either way. It doesn't matter.
What about
It's the same.
they're gonna have keys into the building and all that stuff?
No.
You got two people?
No, it'll be only during
just asking
operational
if you got
times
an
to pick
extra
up
one, I'll
mayor.
take one myself.
Is there anything, Scott, that we would have to be concerned with? He's trying to horn in on your intern.
You got a lot of stuff to answer.
He's trying to get in on your intern now, you know?
Yeah.
Scott, is there anything that we should be concerned with as the city?
I don't know, they would take office here in
Yeah,
the
but
city.
just doing business hours to pick up mail, answer phone calls, and to be able to just send out emails for me for different committees and projects that I'm engaged in right now.
So if it's anything pertaining to what we have to have done through the city, you'll go through the city and have it verified
That-
before that person
that's
sends
correct.
it.
That's correct.
Before that person sends it out.
That's correct.
You're paving new territory.
Anybody else? What do you think?
I
I
was asking.
I don't know
I was
about-
asking.
I
our
don't know
attorney.
that there are any, I mean, this would not be an employee of the city, would be officed at the city. I mean, we may have some kind of agreement with the organization that's providing the intern, but I can't think of any liability issues.
When would that start? When would it finish?
It'll be end of May to the middle of August before they go back to school.
Okay, all right.
Can I say, would the person have anything to do with with a new program that you're initiating, the youth?
No,
Working on that?
this is something
Totally
totally separate, yes.
Okay.
All right. All right, anybody, I guess consensus is it's okay as long as the city
Okay,
verifies
and just to
everything.
clarify, I'm not sure that I heard it. This person would be in the commission office, correct?
No, that office is going away,
Okay.
isn't it?
Well, we're gonna come up with new commission
Yeah,
office.
so it'll be a
which will-
place here in the city, doing business hours.
You'll be up where the commission's gonna be put.
Yeah,
is
it'll
what
be
he's
doing
saying.
business hours.
Okay.
Yes, no keys.
But the problem is, one problem we got is when you got 4 commissioners working out of that same place, until we get it changed, and
Yeah, I just wanted to make that clear, just because with taking that space back from some of the employees to make the 4 offices for you, we'll probably have to move code enforcement somewhere else, and we really don't have a spare office at this time. So I don't really see any issue with it if that person is working out of the commission office and doesn't have keys and during business hours, but we really don't have a spare office available at this time.
Does that create, and again, I'm not being negative, Commissioner Oliver, I'm just asking some questions. Does that create any issues having someone up in the city manager's office regarding confidentiality? I mean, you're in there talking, at times, I'm sure you have discussions in that office regarding issues that we're not privileged to hear. I mean, they're employee issues, et cetera.
Well, the offices,
And
Commissioner,
that's what I'm just wondering, if there's.
they're not in the city manager's suite. They're down 227, the conference room at the end of
down
the
the
hallway.
hall.
across from
Yeah, down-
finance.
it's at the
Okay.
other end of the hallway.
I'm thinking the office behind Sherry.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, so consensus is okay as long as everything verifies through the staff, I think.
And last item that I have, actually, you know what? I can wait on that. I just needed to get a follow-up with, Mr. Butler's not here tonight, so I just needed to get a follow with him on the pointer signs for the historical hollow ground area on North Lakewood Avenue and Laurel Ridge Road. So he's not here, so I'll defer that, and I can give him a call on tomorrow or Monday to find out about that. And finally, I've been receiving calls after our HRDB meetings about structural changes in those meetings, and it kind of gives me pause as to some of the things I'm hearing that's going on in those meetings about changes and budgets and different things that's being changed that really is not being changed. So I just want to get, I guess, to the bottom of it, to try to figure out why are we continuing to have these conversations in that advisory board meeting as it pertains to sunshine laws, moving budgets around and different things of that nature, which is actually causing a lot of stress, causing me a lot of stress. I thought we'd handle those things and they had been a thing of the past, and they could move on and do the work that they've been appointed to do.
I did get a call from some people, and I was gonna address it when it come to my time. And I'm the representative of that board, so I wish they'd have called me, whoever you said and called. But here's the deal, that person's not gonna be at those meetings. So we're gonna work on solving our problems with the group, because that person's not gonna be there addressing those issues anymore. And Rob's taking care of that.
Okay, well, that's enough said, I'm done.
But I would say that the diversity board, and Bill, Mr. Maxwell, Kathleen, the other ones have called me, but the ones that are calling you didn't call me. So I'm the real representative.
I actually got a call from outside, so they were
Yeah.
visiting.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't, we're gonna make sure that, there are other things about the sunshine law has to be said, but I was sick with I had 2 implants put in the other night, and I didn't make it, first time I haven't been there. So, I called Deborah, or Nicole, talked to Nicole. I tried to call Bill, but he was out chasing cows. And I talked to Kathleen, so we're working on that, and I talked to Rob, so we're trying to get that straightened out. All right. Everybody talk except me?
No, we haven't talked, we haven't.
Oh, excuse me.
You started.
Commissioner Arnold, you took
nothing to
I'm
say.
sorry.
third time.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to take all your time.
All right, go ahead, Rich.
No, I
All right,
haven't.
Commissioner Wilson.
Okay. Just for residents who have had concerns regarding the medians on Clark Road near White Road and that area near the mall, that was addressed tonight. We talked about it in our CRA meeting, so that is being addressed. So anyone that has concerns over that, which some of my residents do, which I understand, that area is being addressed and looked at. The other thing is thank you to the police department. Great picnic the other day. Wonderful to see so many from the community. I was delighted by someone who had not been to one before and was so impressed with what was going on. And it's wonderful to have our residents involved and to see what's going on. Mayor, are you going to talk about Frank Turner Park? So I won't say anything about
Am I
that.
gonna talk about what?
Frank Turner Park?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, you are. Okay, so I'm not gonna.
Started working on that a long time ago.
I know, no, I want to make sure you were going to say something
Oh,
about
yeah.
that. Okay, the other item I had, I guess we're talking about canceling meetings. And I got looking ahead the other day on the July 2nd meeting.
What day's that fall on?
That falls on a Tuesday. No, but,
Right before the
the 4th is on a Thursday that week, and I just don't know if that's going to be.
We usually take that off.
That's what we normally have. Here's if you want to.
You wanna make that one too?
Is there any reason, first of all, maybe with, Rob, that's gonna be a problem at
This
point?
far in advance, Commissioner, we could surely manage
Got
that.
plenty of time.
Okay, so we should go ahead and,
I'm planning on going to the beach.
well,
Oh, excuse me.
okay, that's okay. Go right ahead. I guess I'll make that motion that we'll cancel
All
July.
right.
Is that what you're saying to do?
Yeah, what
now?
give me the date?
July 2nd.
July 2nd. You gonna make a motion?
I'll
we
make that
cancel
motion that we would
Do I
cancel
hear a
the
second?
July 2nd meeting.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Oliver seconds. All right, let's vote. You have to give your money back for those meetings.
I have to give money back for those meetings? Okay.
Big money as
Oh,
it is.
as it is, we'll
Yep.
do right. I think that was my only notes. Thank you. That's all I have at this point. Thank you.
Commissioner Brinson.
I have nothing.
All right, a couple of things. Once again, about Saturday at the police, it was great seeing all the people there at that park. I'd like to commend the Parks Department for the shape that park's in. We were starting working that about a year and 2 years ago, and that thing has really shaped up.
It's come a long way.
Yeah, it's come a long way. That thing is great. I don't know, did y'all get a count? I know they cooked all the hot dogs and hamburgers they had, plus they had all kind of things going on. It was great. So they did a super job. I couldn't figure out why the fire department was standing outside the fence. I asked them, were they banned or something, but they were,
They were needed. They were needed.
they were ready for an emergency though.
There
Yeah.
was an issue. I know that they brought the ambulance in, so it's
Yeah.
nice that they're there.
So, I wanted to ask Commissioner Oliver, I want to ask about this thing, because we talked about it, and we voted to do it, and we're trying to do it, but I have not received one application under the youth thing. You know anything that's going on?
Yes, I know Dorcas is actually, she's been receiving those applications to submit to, she had a drop dead date of the 15th of this month, and she will be submitting those applications to the commissioners to look at those, besides myself, so to be, the rest of you guys will be looking at those applications
what I think-
and making those approvals or disapprovals.
Yeah, what they should do is have her maybe Melody, then turn it into Melody, and they can make copies and put
I think
them
right now
out.
she may have close to about 9 or 10 right
I
now.
haven't had any.
Yep.
Melody hasn't got any yet
She'll,
either.
she's actually, I think she's actually getting them all together at once and to actually get them all
All right.
to Melanie or to the
Okay.
commission all at one
The
time.
summer's coming on soon.
Yeah.
I think, is that it?
I have a question, if you don't mind me asking.
No, go ahead.
I have something on my calendar, the 29th, with Bill Maxwell's name. Were you planning something on the 29th, or do I take it off?
If you go and talk, come on up.
Do you have anything, Mayor, the
You
29th?
just opened a can of worms.
I'm sorry, would you time? Bill, we love you, but could we time you? Oh, it was just a yes or no, Bill, if I didn't know, Mayor, did you have anything on your calendar for the 29th?
I think so, but I don't have a calendar with me. He'll tell us. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm William Maxwell. I'm a resident of Ocoee. And yes, the 29th was something that I announced at last Commissioners' session, that a contingency from the United States Military Academy, West Point, has requested a visit with the city of Ocoee. As a matter of fact, I received an email during the ongoing session for some further input from them. And the plan right now appears to be that we'll have a meeting within the next 3 days and formulate and pretty much consolidate a recommended mode of procession that we give these people, the VIP treatment. All those factors are now being assimilated, and we'll be able to bring something to you in the next session to tell you exactly what's going to take place.
Well, the only problem is, can you want to say something, because
Go ahead.
there's no meeting.
There's no meeting on the 21st, so what you need to do is send the
Yeah.
emails through the city to Sherry Seaver.
We'll do
That's
so.
And
That's
we'll
why I
work
brought it
out,
up.
we're gonna use this facility here, right? Yeah.
This would be ideal,
brought it up.
I believe. In addition to that, because of the nature and the significance of what is happening, think of the impact that a visit from the Department of Law of the United States Military Academy will have on the youth of our community. And so I'm really seeking diligently to engage or involve the junior ROTC program and cadets. And I've had several people in the last couple of weeks that I've sat with in interviews who are interested in making applications to the United States Military Academy, West Point. So I would like some feedback from you in terms of the magnitude that you want this visit to receive in terms of the invitation of local elected officials and dignitaries?
I would send a thing to West Orange, Wekiva, and Ocoee High School asking the ROTC people to be involved in that. I don't know what West Orange's is, but I think, was Ocoee Air Force? It's Air Force, I think.
Ocoee is Air Force,
Yeah.
and I think West Orange is Navy. I'm not really sure.
So we need to maybe ask, if we can ask Rob, it's okay, if we can get Sherry to help do get in contact with them, make sure they're here.
Yes, sir.
What we need to do.
This would be our real big ticket to reach out to our youth in the area.
Yeah.
And please don't forget Wekiva, because Wekiva is
No, I
one
said
of our schools.
Wekiva.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
We'll make a local.
because they
occurrence.
are from kids from Wekiva, kids from Ocoee
I
go to
think it would be
Wekiva.
nice to have somebody represented from those schools at that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me know too, because
We'll put the
wanna
plan,
help with
we'll
it,
put the
too.
plan together
Yeah.
and run it to staff, and you can bless it or tell us
All
which
right.
way to go in it.
all right.
But it's on. I just got an email from her, and they're very excited about coming here to visit our city.
So it's during the business day, so maybe, Rob, we can have some of our staff come to that function and watch where we have plenty of people in there, and I hope the commissioners can make it. Make sure each
Send-
commissioner has a
send me
date
the info.
and times.
Yeah, the only
Send
thing,
me the info.
we've not really discussed a budget or anything, but if there's anything that I think we need to spend on it, probably need
Give them
some
zero,
authorization for contingency.
Do we need to make a motion for contingency? The problem is, since we canceled the meeting of the
Sorry,
next
so
meeting.
Well,
we gotta think
I
about
mean,
these
if you
things.
wanted to authorize up to $1,000 in contingency for something, I think, in discussion with Mr. Maxwell, that we need to do for these VIPs, and
Is that all right
at
with
least we'd have
everybody?
some authorization to spend that money.
Yeah, is that, he's got a,
One other question, the budget dollars, I can't go there. The professor that is the lead on the project is from Florida, but I don't know how familiar she is with our local area. And they are traveling via train from the academy, West Point, to the auto terminal in Sanford. And I believe a good suggestion would be to escort them here, because they are all on a tight time frame, and whether or not, we're violating any type of ordinances if we provided them with either a civilian or a police escort from there to expedite their
Yeah, we can
getting
figure
here.
that out.
and
We'll
keeping-
work on that also, Bill.
All right, sir.
We'll work on that.
All right.
All right?
do we need a motion?
Yeah. Somebody gonna make a motion for the $1,000 out of contingency?
Yeah, I make a motion for you provide $1,000 in contingency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Brenson, seconded by Commissioner Firstly. All in favor? Yes. All right, thank
Thank
you,
you,
Bill.
Commissioner.
Mr. Maxwell, I wanna, I'll just make a comment, I'm just gonna make a comment real quick. I was invited by Mayor Demmons and, Mr. Bracewell to go down to Orlando last Monday a week ago, to the Undersecretary of the Army was there. We all got to discuss things in our cities and things we'd like to see in veterans and all that kind of stuff. So just one of the most amazing things to me was the guy sitting beside me. I'd never met him before, but his son was a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor out of Orlando, posthumously. So it was amazing to me. I didn't know the gentleman, but he was sitting there beside me, and I think it was Richard Smith was his son, I think it is. So it's amazing. So all the mayors, there was a lot of mayors there, and a lot of other people, but it was an amazing thing. That guy's a real young guy, though, that Undersecretary of the Army. So it was, and a lot of brass was there with the Army brass, Air Force, and all that stuff. So it was, and Marines, there was a lot of Marines there too, Commissioner Benson. So,
And Bill.
you only needed one, huh? There you go.
I was gonna say,
Hoo-ah. Thank you.
Wasn't Bill around?
All right, so everybody see you the 1st of June.
Did you say anything about the park?
Huh?
The ribbon cutting at the park? Did you say that?
Where's Mark? Did Mark leave that back there? Mayor, I'm sorry about that. I want everybody, I'll have Sherry send it out, Rosemary. Ex-Commissioner, I mean, not ex, but, Mr. Frank Turner, Francis Turner was our commissioner back years and years ago. We're naming the park on Russell Drive for him, and I think it's this Saturday, 10 o'clock, isn't it, Rosemary? Yes. Yeah, so we're having that up there at the park on Russell Drive, Saturday, 10 o'clock. Anybody can come, please come. We need to make some slides, they're taking pictures.